Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, are you someone who have yours or your family members unclaimed shares and dividends lying in an investor education and protection fund or the IEPF account? Then this is where you might be able to find out solutions to getting back those shares. Joining in to find out how exactly can you get back these unclaimed, long forgotten, lost shares back into your accounts. With me is a very special guest on the show. Sanchit Garg joins in. He's the co-founder and CEO of GLC Wealth Advisor LLP. Welcome, Sanchit, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. This is a topic that concerns thousands of Indians who have their lost and forgotten shares stuck in the IEPF account, and they do not know what is exactly the way out and how can they get back those shares, because definitely it is their worth their hard-earned money. So I want to begin by understanding from you to give us a perspective to all our viewers as to what is it that we are discussing and how big a problem is it that we are looking to address at this point in time. So help me understand, what is the estimated amount of the money stuck in unclaimed shares with IEPF?
Sure, Sakshi. So, hi, thanks first of all for giving me the platform. So basically, the quantum of shares, as per the latest disclosed reports of the government, says around 117 crore shares have been transferred to the IEPF authority. And as per our estimates, as per current market prices, these shares could be worth around 50,000 crore rupees.
Oh.
So that's a big amount. And there's a dividend amount of approximately 5,700 crore that has also been transferred to the IEPF authority.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not talking about just a few crores. You can understand it's a matter of 50,000 crore. And there are shares in physical form other than the ones which have been transferred to IEPF authority. Our estimate says these physical investments could be somewhere in the range of 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh crore rupees.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
many of such investors and families are struggling to claim such investments from the IEPF authority or in getting their shares dematted in the electronic form.
That's absolutely right. Now let's actually come to the process. A lot of viewers who might be watching this, watching this video, they might be wanting to know. So, what is the next step for them if they found out that they had some shares or their family members had some shares which are now in the IEPF, or there has been years of dividend that has been, now transferred to the IEPF? What exactly is the entire process of claiming your shares from IEPF? Could you break it down for us in terms of several steps that they can follow to get started with the process of claiming their shares back?
Definitely. So the first step of the process is to have all the collated information related to your investments. You need to have the folio number. You need to know which companies, how many shares were there. If you have any physical records like the share certificates, any old allotment letters, dividend proofs, that will help you in the process to reach out to the relevant companies. So first step is to make a comprehensive list of your investments, have the information of these investments. Secondly, you need to get reach out to these companies or their registrars to get your KYC updated, your signatures, bank account details, demat account details in the company's records. Once this is done, you might have to do a process of duplicate shares if you have lost some of the share certificates. After doing all this verification and compliances, the companies will issue you a entitlement letter to claim the shares from the government authority. It could be
Okay.
shares and the dividends.
Okay.
Once the entitlement letter is issued to you, that is when you have to file the claim online by visiting the MCA website and then filling the form called IEPF Form 5.
Okay.
Once this
Okay.
form is filled, the physical documents have to be sent to the nodal officer of the company. Company will do its verification and submit its verification report to the government. Once that is done, the government authority will start acting upon the claim.
Hmm.
And once the claim is approved, you will get back your shares in the demat account and the dividends in your bank account.
Okay.
So
Could you
it's a,
also, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
please continue.
No, so I was just, it's a multi-step process involving two, three rounds of documentation. Yeah, so that is the process in brief. Yeah, you were asking some questions.
Yes, absolutely. I was asking you to, first of all, help me understand just what is the entire time duration that it takes for someone who follows this process to really get back the shares? And in case one wants to hasten the process, is there any financial assistance provided to them? And what can they really explore here?
So, time frame typically depends upon your case because if you have all the documentation in place, the process can be done faster. If some of the documents are missing, you don't have old proofs, you don't have the share certificates, you need to do the compliances for duplicate shares.
Right.
So, typically, for an investor who is still alive, he's trying to claim his shares, the process practically takes around 1 year.
Okay.
Whereas in case of a deceased shareholder, because that might involve court process, the process can take up to 2 years. So this is practically the time frame. Although the timelines given by the government are state that the investments can be claimed faster, but for a normal person to do the process, typically it takes somewhere around 12 months to do the process.
Got that. Recently, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, in her budget speech for FY24, also proposed to form an IT portal to reclaim the unclaimed shares and the unpaid dividends. Now, would you really expect that this new IT portal, as soon as it comes into effect, can actually make tracking of such shares easier for the public?
So, Sakshi, there are two aspects to it. One is tracking and tracing out old investments, and secondly, doing the process to reclaim those investments.
Sure.
So, the first point is tracking and tracing out old unclaimed investments. So, there are two, three things. One is you need to collate all the information that you have. Secondly, the IEPF authority already has a portal where you can search by your name and folio number. However, we feel practically the portal is not very updated and not very comprehensive. Also, there are several issues like name could be different in the share certificates from your current name, and there could be issues like abbreviations being used in your old investments, or there could
Mm-hmm.
be clerical errors and typing errors in the records of the companies, because of which you might not be able to find 100% of your investments through this portal. So
So,
that is the
yeah.
first aspect about tracing your old investments. Secondly, about the integrated portal, yes, that is a right step from the government's side to streamline the process and ease the process for the investors or the legal heirs to claim their old investments. Uh, Basically, what will happen is through this integrated portal, all the companies can comply with all the discrepancies raised by the government on the same portal, as well as the investors can track their claims on the same portal. So
Mm-hmm.
right now there is a too much to and fro for the investor to tackle the discrepancies raised by IEPF authority and then going back to the companies to get those discrepancies resolved. So this
Mm-hmm.
integrated portal will streamline the process. However, the issue in India is most of these investors are senior citizens. They are super senior citizens. Either they are NRIs who have settled abroad.
Yeah.
They could be staying in tier two, tier three cities.
Yeah.
So they are not very savvy with the digital process. So we'll have to wait and watch. I mean, how much, if how effective this portal will be for investors in claiming value investments.
Got that. So that is a wait and watch approach for now. But what are some of the key causes of share disputes also that people's shares must be stuck there as well, and which are getting difficult to claim at this point in time?
So these are not, I mean, disputed matters. Basically, the law in India says if you do not claim dividends for your shares for 7 consecutive years, the
Hmm.
dividends and the shares get transferred to the IEPF authority. However, you're right, there are certain scenarios where some disputes might arise. For example, there are cases of unregistered transfer deeds. Earlier, the
Okay.
shares used to be transferred, or sale purchase used to happen in physical form.
Hmm.
So there are many scenarios in which there are buyers of shares who have not been able to get the shares transferred in their name from the
Right.
seller's name in the company's records. So there are many scenarios in which the ownership of the shares is under dispute. The company record says it is in the name of the old shareholder, but
Hmm.
the share certificates and the transfer deeds are in the name of the buyer.
Hmm.
So that is, for example, one scenario where such disputes might arise. Secondly, if the investors have passed away, then there is always a possibility of dispute arising between the legal
Yeah.
heirs about the rights on those investments.
Yeah.
Other than that, there are issues like names have changed because of marriage, or change in name. So the records say a different name, whereas your documents say a different name.
Hmm.
There could be a scenario that you don't have any document to prove your claim. You do not have share certificates with you. You do not have any dividend proofs, allotment letter, or your old address proof to substantiate to the company and the government that you are the rightful claimant. So
Got that.
in such scenarios, I mean, the investments are stuck and the rightful claimants are not able to claim their investments.
Hmm. Right, and you rightfully pointed out several of the scenarios which might be currently, some of the viewers or investors may be facing at this point in time. Say, for example, if I take a case that if someone is settled abroad and is an NRI now how can they claim their investments that are stuck in IPF? Does he or she really have to come back to India to claim these investments? Can it be done online? What's the whole process there?
Yeah, so very good question because NRIs do typically face such issues of multiple jurisdictions. They do not have to be present in India physically to do the process. However, if they are planning to visit India, that might expedite the process, but they don't have to be in India specially for this process.
Okay.
They only need to execute the relevant documents from wherever, in whichever country they are,
Hmm.
uh, along with the relevant attestations and the notarizations that might be required by the government or the company.
Hmm.
Other than that, if you talk about some of the relevant documents for
Yeah.
NRIs and foreign citizens, so they
Sure.
require a PAN card. For foreign nationals, they require a OCI card or a PIO card.
Hmm.
And other than that, they need to have a NRE or NRO demat account and bank accounts in place. So these investments will only come to their demat accounts and bank account, which have to be NRE or NRO accounts.
Okay, okay, got that. Now, what are some of the other complications that are related to investments of the deceased if their investors and their money is stuck in the IEPF account there?
Yeah. So if the investor, the shareholder has passed away, then the government has made certain threshold that if the value is within 5 lakh rupees, then the process is slightly simple. You can get the shares transferred to your name by providing transmission related documents plus no objection certificates and indemnities from the other legal heirs.
Okay.
Whereas if the value of the investments crosses 5 lakh rupees, then there is a requirement of a court order. If the investor passed away leaving behind a will, then a probate of the will might be required. Whereas if the investor has passed away without any will, then a succession certificate has to be obtained by the legal heirs in their favor by the court, and then the transmission process can be done. So this court
All right.
process in itself is a lengthy process. It can take roughly 1.5 years to get a succession certificate. And obviously all the legal heirs have to come together to do the process. Uh, if there is any dispute within the family going on, then that's a separate matter.
Got that. Well, thank you so much, Sanchit. I think this has been an extremely enriching interview because a lot of investors who have their money stuck because in ways of shares and in ways of dividends in the IPF, at least they have some insights as to how to begin this process. And I think we should continue doing this interaction more further to get into the details of how one can really look at on a case-to-case basis as well, how things are handled at your organization level as well. But thank you so much for giving us that first bit of information as to how can investors really find this complicated process and ease out that process going forward from here. And simplification of the process, the steps that you've discussed are also going to be helpful for all of them. Many thanks for being with us on the show.
Welcome, Sakshi.
All right, and with that, we wrap up this edition on Business Today TV. But do stay tuned onto this platform for catching a whole lot of information from the world of business and stock markets coming up right now next for you on your screens.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe.